Bruce Willis once commanded the screen with a single look, his voice cutting through explosions and chaos. But behind the fame and action hero persona, his life has been quietly unraveling in ways the world only slowly began to understand. The man who made millions laugh, cheer, and gasp is now facing battles his fans cannot see. Family, love, and everyday moments have become tests of strength, resilience, and heartbreak. What his loved ones endure every day reveals a side of Bruce Willis no movie could ever show. A childhood silenced by stutter and shadows. Bruce Willis was born on March 19, 1955, in Idar Oberstein, West Germany, the son of an American soldier and a German mother. From the very beginning, his world was split between two cultures, a life shaped by military discipline and the lingering presence of post-war Europe. In 1957, when Bruce was just 2, his father left the army and the family moved to New Jersey. The change brought no ease. Suddenly, Bruce was just another boy in a rough American neighborhood, surrounded by factory workers and families struggling to make ends meet. Though outwardly ordinary, his early life carried a heavy weight. Around age 6, Bruce developed a painful stutter that made speaking nearly impossible. Simple words would catch in his throat, sentences became battles, and classmates mocked him relentlessly. The cruel nickname Buck Buck haunted him through school days, and for years, Bruce carried the invisible burden of isolation. The stutter didn't just affect his speech, it shaped how he interacted with the world. He often skipped classes, used humor and pranks to distract others from his struggles, and fought physically to defend himself when words failed. The shame he felt eroded his confidence and made school a place of constant vigilance. Yet amid the pain, Bruce discovered an unexpected refuge, acting. At 15, he joined the drama club, and for the first time, the words flowed freely. The moment he read lines on stage, his stutter disappeared. It was as if stepping into another persona gave him control over his voice and a sense of agency he had never known. This discovery marked a turning point. Acting was no longer just an escape, it was a lifeline that restored his confidence and opened a door to new possibilities. Through high school leadership and later speech therapy at Montclair State University, Bruce built both his voice and self-assurance, preparing him for the challenges ahead. By 1977, he left school and moved to New York City, determined to carve a path in a world that offered no guarantees. Bartending, improvising for small audiences, playing harmonica for tips, and sleeping on couches became his routine. Rejection was constant, yet each setback pushed him closer to his first breakthrough. These early years were filled with hardship, but they forged a resilience and determination that would carry him through every triumph and tragedy that followed, long before the diagnoses and heartbreaks that would test him decades later. From bars to moonlighting, the rise of a star. By the late 1970s, Bruce Willis had traded the instability of his childhood for the uncertain grind of New York City. With no money, no connections, and a fierce determination, he worked long hours as a bartender, often crashing on friends' couches or in tiny apartments. The bars became his stage, where he performed improvised skits, entertained patrons with harmonica solos, and turned everyday moments into acts of storytelling. Each night was a test of endurance, yet it also sharpened his timing, his presence, and his instinct for connecting with an audience. The rejections were relentless, hundreds of auditions, countless callbacks. But Bruce's persistence never faltered. In 1977, he earned his first real stage role in Heaven and Earth, and although the pay was minimal, the experience proved invaluable, allowing him to refine his craft and gain confidence that would carry him into more substantial roles. Over the next few years, Bruce started landing small commercial gigs and bit parts in movies, including a brief scene with Frank Sinatra in 1980. Yet success remained distant, and life in New York was unpredictable. During one night at work, Bruce was involved in a physical altercation while defending someone, resulting in a broken nose and emergency surgery. Doctors warned that the injury could affect his voice, a potential setback for an aspiring actor. But Bruce returned with renewed determination, his scar becoming an emblem of resilience rather than a hindrance. It was in these small, struggling venues and behind-the-counter performances that he forged enduring friendships, most notably with John Goodman. Together, they performed wild, unscripted plays that mesmerized small audiences and honed the energy and improvisational skills that would define Bruce's screen presence. Everything changed in 1985 with Moonlighting. After 11 auditions, Bruce finally secured the lead role of David Addison, a fast-talking, irreverent detective paired with Sybil Shepherd. The show was chaotic and demanding. Episodes ran 120 pages long, production was expensive, and tensions on set were constant. Bruce's charm, unpredictability, and energy turned the program into a sensation, despite frequent clashes with co-stars and exhaustion that led to a collapse in 1988. Audiences loved the magnetic presence of the actor, who had once been a shy, stuttering child, now transformed into a star whose timing, wit, and relatability carried the show. Moonlighting made Bruce a household name and opened the door to Hollywood's biggest opportunities, proving that years of struggle, improvisation, and perseverance could culminate in a breakthrough that would define the rest of his life. Die Hard and the Price of Action Stardom. By the late 1980s, Bruce Willis had transformed from a television star into a rising film actor. But the opportunity that would define his career came unexpectedly. In 1988, after a string of rejections for major roles, he was offered the lead in Die Hard, a part that had been turned down by stars like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. The offer included a remarkable $5 million payday, unheard of for someone at his stage, signaling the studio's confidence in his potential. Filming began later that year, much of it at Fox Plaza in Los Angeles, and what was intended to be a high-octane action film quickly became a crucible testing both his talent and resilience. The intense stunts, explosions, and long shooting days left their mark. During one scene, a gun was fired too close to his ear, leaving Bruce with permanent partial hearing loss in his left ear, a reminder that the pursuit of cinematic authenticity often carried real-world consequences. Despite the dangers, Bruce brought a relatability to John McClane that resonated with audiences worldwide. He wasn't a flawless superhero, he was a man caught in impossible circumstances, battling not just criminals but exhaustion, injury, and fear. Die Hard exploded at the box office, earning over $140 million worldwide and cementing Bruce as a full-fledged action star. Yet behind the acclaim was the relentless pressure of living up to a new image. The success of the film demanded sequels, higher salaries, and greater risk-taking, all while maintaining the charm and spontaneity that had become his hallmark. Family, love, and hidden battles. While Bruce Willis's professional life soared, his personal life was far from simple. In 1987, he married fellow superstar Demi Moore after a whirlwind romance, and the couple welcomed 3 daughters, Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah. The marriage, though glamorous on the outside, carried tension and challenges. Moore later revealed that Bruce struggled with settling into domestic life after their children were born, often craving novelty and adventure rather than routine, which created strains behind the scenes. Despite these pressures, the family worked to maintain a sense of cohesion, yet the demands of Hollywood, public scrutiny, and the private struggles of both parents shaped an environment where the children would inevitably face difficulties of their own. Bruce and Demi eventually separated in 1998, with their divorce finalized in 2000. The split was public and costly, involving complex negotiations over their $200 million fortune and custody arrangements. Yet even after their separation, Bruce demonstrated a commitment to co-parenting. He and Moore managed to maintain a cordial relationship, and he later had to come to terms with Demi's marriage to Ashton Kutcher in 2005. Initially, Bruce struggled with jealousy, but with guidance from friends like Will Smith, he found a way to prioritize family harmony and model acceptance for his daughters. The children themselves faced challenges growing up in the spotlight. Rumor Willis openly shared struggles with anxiety, Scout faced legal trouble for underage drinking, and Tallulah, later diagnosed with high-functioning autism at age 29, navigated years of personal uncertainty before understanding her condition. The pressures of fame, public scrutiny, and their parents' complicated histories created a landscape where emotional resilience was required early on. Despite the hardships, Bruce remained a devoted father, present and engaged in his children's lives whenever possible. In 2009, Bruce found love again with British model Emma Hemming, marrying her and welcoming two daughters, Mabel and Evelyn. Emma has been transparent about the emotional toll of Bruce's later health struggles, including his aphasia diagnosis in 2022 and progression to frontotemporal dementia in 2023. She has candidly shared the guilt, grief, and strain of caregiving while balancing her daughter's needs. Even symbolic family moments like anniversaries or Father's Day are bittersweet, highlighting the quiet resilience and unconditional love that defines their family dynamic. For Bruce, professional triumphs were often intertwined with private battles, proving that even the brightest star could not escape life's most painful realities: health decline and the reality of aphasia. In March 2022, the Willis family shared devastating news with the world. Bruce Willis had been diagnosed with aphasia, a condition affecting his to understand and communicate verbally and in writing. For fans, it was shocking. For his family, it was both a relief and a heartbreak, a name for the struggles they had quietly observed over months. Bruce, once a commanding presence on screen, found that everyday conversation had become a challenge. Tasks that were second nature, like reading lines, giving directions, or even responding to his children, required extra effort. The disease's progression was subtle at first, often mistaken for fatigue or distraction, but its impact soon became undeniable. Emma Hemming Willis, his wife, witnessed the changes intimately. She noticed Bruce becoming distant and withdrawn, even with the children he had always been close to. At times, he appeared cold or disengaged, a stark contrast to the warmth that had defined his personality. These shifts caused Emma immense worry, leaving her to question if their marriage was under strain, only to later understand that it was the disease altering his behavior. She described moments when he would melt during family gatherings, a painful contrast to the vibrant, communicative man she had married. Despite the emotional weight, Emma has remained steadfast, advocating for her husband, protecting his privacy from intrusive media, and striving to maintain a sense of normalcy for their daughters, Mabel and Evelyn, who are still in school. Even daily routines became exercises in adaptation. To provide Bruce with a safe, calm environment, Emma made the difficult decision to move him into a specialized care home, staffed 24/7, where he could receive proper attention without the chaos of a busy household. Visits remained frequent, breakfasts together, shared meals, and moments of connection, but the separation was a constant reminder of what had been lost. Bruce's ability to laugh, respond to music, or show brief flashes of recognition became precious treasures for the family, underscoring both the tragedy of his condition and the enduring power of love. Frontotemporal dementia, a family's new battle. In early 2023, Bruce Willis received a second, even more alarming diagnosis: frontotemporal dementia, FTD. Unlike aphasia alone, FTD progressively erodes personality, behavior, and cognitive function. For Emma Hemming Willis and their daughters, Mabel and Evelyn, this marked the start of a new, relentless chapter of caregiving. Bruce, who had once been vibrant, witty, and deeply engaged with his family, began to change. Emma described moments when he seemed distant, cold, or disconnected, behaviors that were not willful but symptomatic of the disease. Everyday interactions became more challenging, requiring patience, understanding, and constant adaptation. The simple routines of family life, driving the children, shared meals, casual conversation, had to be restructured around his abilities and comfort. Emma faced the emotional toll head-on, often expressing feelings of guilt, grief, and exhaustion. She spoke candidly about how caregiving required her to prioritize her husband's needs while also nurturing her daughters and herself, a balance that demanded both physical energy and emotional resilience. She described symbolic family occasions, such as anniversaries and Father's Day, as bittersweet, a mixture of gratitude, love, and an undeniable sadness for what was lost. On social media, Emma openly reflected on the weight of these responsibilities, encouraging other caregivers to practice self-care and emphasizing that acknowledging her struggles did not diminish her commitment to Bruce. To ensure Bruce's safety and comfort, Emma made the heart-wrenching decision to move him into a specialized care home with round-the-clock staff. This allowed him to receive appropriate attention while protecting the household from stress and maintaining a structured environment for the young daughters. Despite the physical separation, the family maintained frequent contact, sharing meals and moments of affection, and celebrating the glimpses of the old Bruce. His laughter, recognition of music, and brief expressions of his former self, moments that became treasured anchors amid uncertainty. The diagnosis of FTD shifted the family's priorities, revealing both vulnerability and resilience. Emma, Mabel, and Evelyn adapted to a new reality where life was measured in small victories, a laugh, a gesture, a spark of recognition. The disease may have stolen aspects of Bruce's independence and communication, but it also highlighted the unbreakable bonds of love and the family's dedication. In the face of tragedy, the Willis family exemplifies courage, commitment, and the quiet strength that emerges when the person you love most is suddenly no longer the person you knew. Bruce's story is one of both triumph and tragedy, showing that even the strongest among us face battles invisible to the world. His family's journey illuminates the quiet, persistent heroism found in caregiving, love, and resilience, a different kind of bravery than what captivated audiences on the big screen. It is a reminder that life's most profound victories are often not measured in box office numbers, awards, or fame, but in the depth of connection and the strength to endure together. What do you think has been the most inspiring part of Bruce Willis's story? How do you see the family's resilience in the face of illness? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about the lives behind the legends.